Educators are exploring alternatives to traditional report cards. We are starting to communicate about student learning in more meaningful and helpful ways. My name is Clay McLeod, and I am a teacher at Spring Valley Middle School in Kelowna, and I am working with my teaching partner, Louise Pouliot, in order to communicate student learning in better ways in order to keep parents informed and help students grow. Central Okanagan School District, or School District 23, has criteria for communicating student learning, or CSL. One of the criteria is clear learning intentions. There are also the requirement for meaningful learning experiences, student ownership of learning, authentic evidence of learning, and thoughtful descriptive feedback of learning. The Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development has developed or conceived of 7 principles of learning, and School District 23 is using those 7 principles of learning in order to inform our approach in schools and classrooms around the district. Principle 1, learners at the center. Principle 2, the social nature of learning. Principle 3, emotions are integral to learning. Principle 4, recognizing individual differences. Principle 5, stretching all students. Principle 6, assessment for learning. And Principle 7, building horizontal connections between subjects. Mrs. Pouliot and I are working together at Spring Valley Middle School with our 2 classes of grade 6 students in order to communicate about student learning in new and better ways. Putting learners at the center is the first principle of learning, and student ownership of learning is one of the district's CSL criteria. We value this and aspire to put it into practice in our classrooms. We hope to teach students how to take ownership of their learning by having them collect authentic evidence of their learning and use that evidence to report on their own learning in a Google slide deck and Weebly website digital portfolio. Learning is social, and flexible CSL structures like student learning portfolios and student-led conferences create opportunities for conversations about learning between students, parents, and teachers. Emotions are integral to learning, and moving to CSL will allow students to develop their personal and social competency, self-regulation, and executive functioning. CSL meets all students where they are and allows for us to provide more personalized feedback in order to tailor our message to each student's circumstances as opposed to the cookie-cutter approach of traditional report cards. A big part of CSL is trying to develop in students a growth mindset so that all students can stretch and be challenged to do their best and make progress from where they are. A growth mindset is the idea that everyone can learn and get better at things, as opposed to a fixed mindset, which is the idea that a person's intelligence is static. The proficiency scale represents the potential for progress that all students have, as opposed to letter grades, which lead students to potentially identifying as, for example, a C student or an A student, or so on. CSL is connected to assessment, and we want to assess students in ways that will help them to learn rather than judge or rank them. This is called assessment for learning. It is based on the learning standards in the curriculum and guides our approach to CSL. For all of these reasons, we are moving away from traditional report cards, which can be a scary and demotivating experience for many students, and letter grades, which can discourage a growth mindset and encourage a fixed mindset. Instead, we want to provide a range of informative CSL documents and opportunities for conversations about learning. At the base of our approach to CSL are the province's new proficiency scale and the idea of giving thoughtful, strength-based, and descriptive feedback. The first page of our CSL document will describe the student's attitudes, effort, and behavior, rather than a G, S, or N in each subject, their strengths, what they know, understand, and are able to do, areas for growth, and ways to support learning. In order to build horizontal connections between subjects and to look at students as a whole person, we are looking at these in one section of the document rather than breaking them down into individual parts for each subject, although the descriptions of the student's strengths will provide information in sections about each subject. Instruction, assessment, and communicating about student learning are deeply connected. This is reflected in the district's criteria for CSL. That is why the middle section of our CSL document will discuss learning targets for the subjects we teach, our ongoing communication, things we post on our websites, emails we send, conferences with parents and students are part of this aspect as well. The final page gives a sense of where students are in relation to the widely held expectations for students in grade 6 in each subject that we teach. On this page, we will communicate the student's level of performance in each subject using the proficiency scale. Possible levels of performance include emerging, acquiring, developing, refining, proficient, mastering, and extending. The student's level of performance will be indicated by a shaded section on the proficiency scale. We are hoping that this method of communicating about student learning will help students to grow as learners and make the best progress that they are able to, with our teaching team, the students, and you, the families, working together to support students. Thank you for watching.